Hey, this is Ambyr Childers from You on Netflix. I'm hanging out here with Elias, and you're listening to the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Amber, welcome to the cave.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you? What's new with you?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to find a quiet place in my house, which is hard these days. We have 5 kids between both of us, my fiance and I. So there's a lot of rooms that are being occupied right now in the house.
Oh, I believe it. How's the whole quarantine life treating you?
It's good. It's good. I feel like some weeks, sorry, I have a bit of a cold. I don't have COVID. I got tested on Saturday. So, so it's been good. It's, some days are good, some days are bad. And I think like after a while, you just kind of give in to the reality. And so now I worry about going back and having to get up in the morning to like actually get ready to walk out of the house to go to work or take the kids to school. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be so late. Cause we just get to roll out of bed and,
right.
It's different now. So I think it's kind of nice in a way.
But I'm sure you're ready to go back to work also.
Oh my gosh. More than ever. I'm so ready to get back on set. I'm, as artists, I think it's hard for us to just, sit. I would say that we definitely go through these periods where, we're used to not working, but it hasn't been this long, and so the key, I think, is just keeping yourself creative, and I'm really thankful that I have little ones running around that also keeps me really, busy and,
How old are your little ones? I have 2 little ones myself.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So I have a almost 7-year-old girl, a 10-and-a-half-year-old girl, and then my fiance has a 7-year-old girl, a 13-year-old boy, and a 15-and-a-half-year-old girl. So we're four girls and 1 boy.
Oh man, you got your hands full.
Oh, yes, we do.
So the listeners, okay, so we recently saw you on the 1st and 2nd season of Netflix's You as Candace, which, by the way, you're awesome in it. You've done other projects like Ray Donovan, Aquarius. You started out in the soap opera world. You have a business, and you're busy with kids. How do you find so much time to do all this?
I don't find enough time, and I think you just kind of do what you can within a, 10-hour day, and then I think that's the struggle for like the modern woman, right? Is like finding the balance. And, I was just watching this beautiful thing on CNN about the first ladies. And last night they were highlighting Eleanor Roosevelt, and it just is not, it's not today that women have a hard time finding the balance. This has been going on for years. And I think what you have to do is, you have your priorities, you make a list of things, and obviously the kids come first, right? So whatever the kids need during the day and getting them set up. And then you just tackle as many tasks as you can on your to-do list and know that like whatever is the overflow gets done the next day. And, it's hard managing it all, but I think that if you learn to just kind of give in to what can't get done within that day, you'll sleep, more peacefully. I think for me, that was like the biggest.
And I'm sure it makes you feel great that you're able to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish that day.
Yeah. I mean, listen, even if it's like 2 or 3 tasks, like great.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have 10 things on my list and I only get 2 because, there was some obstacle thrown in the middle of the day, or one of the kids is having a meltdown, or I'm having a bad day. It just doesn't happen. Like, that's okay. It's okay.
So let's get to know you a little bit more about you for the listeners. Well, where are you originally from?
I was born in Arizona, Cottonwood, Arizona, and I was brought to California with my family when I was like 6 years old. So I was raised in Murrieta, California, which is like southern, near San Diego, kind of north of San Diego a little bit. And that's where I was raised.
As a kid growing up, what were you into?
Oh, I was an athlete. My dad wanted 3 boys and he got 3 girls, so he turned us all into dudes.
Oh.
And I played golf and basketball growing up, and that was like religiously. We every day after school we'd go to the golf course, and then on the weekends we played basketball, and sometimes it was when I got into high school, it was golf and basketball. I played on both of the teams in high school, and we traveled around, the West Coast to play tournaments and golf tournaments. And so I was very much an athlete, and then really tapped into the artistic side, which I always had. I just, I didn't think my parents really expected it. Like there was no one in my family that was in Hollywood or the entertainment business. So I think my parents were like, wait, what?
How old were you when you kind of had an idea like, I might want to get into the entertainment industry?
I was like, I would say around 8.
Were you watching something?
Yeah, I would always watch movies and television shows that were, I think, very like mature. And what I found so fascinating was, people, I love the way they made people feel. I love this idea that you could escape into this world, and sometimes you relate to the characters, and sometimes it was just so interesting to see the human interaction and how and why people think and why they do what they do. And I just love that. I love that idea. And, maybe I should have been, gone into psychology possibly. But I think that's why I chose acting, because I loved this escapism. And so I told my parents, I'm like, I found this is, my dad would read the Sunday newspaper, and I love reading the newspaper even to this day. I just love the feel of it in your hands. And I'll never forget. I said to my dad, I said, Dad, look, in LA, they're like hosting where you can come and audition to be in commercials. And I think I want to do that. And my parents looked at me like, we're not fucking driving you to LA. You're kidding me. And I was like, I begged. I'm like, please just let me do this. Like, I really want, and like, I love to, it's not like this was a complete shock. Like I love singing, and I loved back in the day when there was like tons of music videos. Like I would get my guitar and I would dance and sing in front of the TV and put on like performances and stuff for my family. So they knew I liked it, but I don't think they knew that it was, at that age, you kind of really don't know, is she a kid being a kid, or does she really have like a desire to pursue something like this? And so my dad told me basically when I was 8, he's like, okay, well, how about this? I'll make you a deal. If you make all-stars for softball, then I will take you to LA. And I was like, done. So of course I made all-stars, and I was like, yeah, we're going to LA. So we went to LA, and the rest is history.
Wow. So when you went out to LA, what was your first gig? Did you get a commercial? So
back in the day, which just sounds so crazy, me even saying back in the day, but back in the day when, because the business has changed so much since I've been in it, is you had to get a commercial agent first, and you weren't allowed to have a theatrical agent until you really proved yourself to be, I guess, camera friendly, or that you were just, good enough to be in front of the camera, and it was more of a natural thing. And I think this is how they tested kids back in the day. And then I got a commercial agent. I did my first was a Saab car commercial. And then I ended up doing, I don't know, like 15 or 20 commercials after that, from Chef Boyardee to Kodak to cat food. I mean, you name it. I did all sorts of fun commercials. And then I went and got a theatrical agent, and I just started going to auditions, and, started coaching a little bit more, because obviously commercials is a little bit more different than, it's a different acting technique than being on television or film. And I just started booking stuff. I really loved it. And my parents were very strict about, making sure that I continued to get good grades, and I had to stay in all the sports, of course. So I think, going back to your earlier question of like, how do you kind of juggle it all, as I think I was kind of trained. I had to train myself because I wanted it all. I wanted to do it all. So I had to get good grades. I couldn't get anything below a B, and I had to, do well in my sports. And I had, so I appreciate my parents teaching me that at a very young age.
So when you were booking all these commercials, did you have like no acting lessons before that?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about even to this day? Did you take any acting lessons when you started jumping to TV and
Oh,
film?
yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, I think, it's true as you get older, acting can become more challenging if it's something that you don't develop into a craft, right? It's like I relate it to golf. Like, you could have the greatest golf swing, but if you take 3 days off and try to go back out, you're going to struggle. Like, it's something that you constantly have to be doing in order to keep that instrument fine tuned. And so I took many acting classes from Strasbourg when I went to New York, when I was living in New York, to when I came back to LA, I did Meisner. I'm not one specific method. I've kind of found my own, I take a little bit of each method, and I apply it, however it fits me best in the project that I'm working on, or the character specifically that I'm working on. And, it's something that I don't really have the time as much anymore to jump back into acting class per se, but I definitely, when something is challenging or I'm struggling with a character, then I'll definitely go and I'll coach, with someone that I've been working with for years.
You mentioned golf. Do you still play this day?
I took my stepchildren out to the country club the other day to play, and we just hit balls, and I was actually really shocked. I hit it really well, but I like equate that to like first time luck, like how you have beginner's luck. I'm like, how the heck do I still have this swing? So maybe I still have a good foundation of my golf swing, but I just haven't. I don't know if you know, but golf is so time consuming.
Oh yeah, it is. I know.
I mean, I can't even imagine. I think I would have to get up at like 4 a.m., to be on the tee box, by like 4:45 in order to get like a round of golf in, which I choose sleep over that these days. Maybe when my kids get older.
I played golf in my 20s before, kids and getting married and everything, and you had more time. Now it's like, it feels like you only have like, because you gotta go out there, you're gonna be out there for like 5 hours.
Oh yeah,
Like you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
you don't have
Yep.
time for that.
Mm-mm.
So I mentioned earlier, you've done numerous projects and everything, and one of them was All My Children. How was it being on a soap opera?
It was good. I had a really great time. I think for me, it was at a time in my life where I was ready to get as far away from my house as I possibly could, just like any 17-year-old wants to. um, and I had got a scholarship to go play golf. I had signed. I had signed to go to a 4-year university, and all my children came months before I was graduating high school, and I ended up graduating high school early in order to go out and start my job. And then I ended up flying back to, for the graduation ceremony. But at that point in my life, I didn't care. I was so excited just to get out in the world. And for me, New York was, that's kind of like how people equate to like their college town. New York is such a special place for me. That's where I grew up. That's where I learned about so many different walks of life and industries and people. And it was really hard work. I was 17, and there were days where I would have, I was this little country girl in a big city by myself, and I was so lonely and scared, and didn't know anybody, and, would call my mom crying because I couldn't memorize my 3-page dialogue. And I'm like, what the hell did I just do to myself? It was a hard work, really hard work.
How did you get through that?
How did I get through it? I mean, I think for me, whenever I'm in like going through a hard time in life, meditation is like a big thing for me. I love meditating. I love going for walks. I love being outside. and just knowing that like I would get through it. And I think talking to some of the most, some of the soap stars that most people recognize, like Susan Lucci or David Canary, who's no longer here, but talking and confiding in them and just saying, how did you do this? How, when you started, and asking these questions to people that, gave me really great advice. And that, for me, the advice was just never give up, and you're going to get through it. No matter how painful the day might be, like you get a fresh start tomorrow. And I think I try to apply those lessons in everything that I do. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. How different is it acting like on a soap opera compared to like doing like a TV show or a film?
No, it's so different. It's like a completely different world. You may film, I don't know, 5 pages, 6 pages a day for a film, and maybe a little bit more, right? You may film like 15 pages for a TV show in a given day. On soaps, you're doing like 30 pages. And because there's no reruns, right? So the amount of content they're having to pump out for a soap opera is, the workload is just, and you're working 12, 13, 14-hour days. And it's a lot of repeating the same thing. But it definitely was challenging. It was like my college. If you were going to throw me into like acting school, that's what I like to tell people was like the best acting school that I could possibly go through, because it really just broke down all those barriers. It made me have really tough skin, just for the business in general.
Yeah. Did you found it easy, I assume, to transition from that to TV because of the schedule, the way you worked on the soap opera?
Yeah, for sure. I think just like memorizing lines is a different, and as you get older, memorizing lines becomes more and more challenging. Even sometimes I'm like, I can't, how am I going to even do this? This is just, I can't even, it just happens. There's something about getting older where you just remember less, and I have mommy brain. But you find a way, and it's like a muscle, right? Memory muscle, and you just have to keep it in tune.
Would you ever go back to the soap opera world?
Probably not. But I don't know. It depends on what the opportunity was.
Right. So let's talk about Netflix's You. And I have some listener questions for you, but how exciting was this ride for season 1 and season 2?
It was so awesome. I was so happy to be able to be a part of the Berlanti family. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. Greg Berlanti and Sarah Schachter, they, are giants in the television world. They produce all the CW stuff. And when they, started branching out and doing things outside of the CW, I was just really excited to be a part of this project. I know so many people on this project. Sarah Gamble, who created You, I worked with her on NBC, Aquarius. David Rappaport, who's the casting director, I've been auditioning for since I was, I don't know. I think when he always brings up the first time he ever saw me was when I was auditioning for Gossip Girl. And he says that I came in with like this big bow in my hair, like a big JoJo Siwa bow. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? That's so embarrassing. I don't remember. But anyway, so there's a lot of people that I knew on the project. So, I love working with, people that I'm familiar with and I know are doing great work.
So the first season premiered on Lifetime. Like, do you remember auditioning for Candace?
I do.
Tell us about that.
I was coming from, what was I doing? I was doing a animated film, and I was in Burbank. And I remember my manager calling me. He's like, "Hey, are you going in for, they're looking for this role on this new Lifetime show." And I was already in the area, and I was like, "Oh, I get to go see David. Sure, why not?" Right. And so I actually got the sides, I believe, when I was there, and I just read them real quick. And I walked in the room and I saw Sarah Gamble, and I was like, "Wait, you created the show? This is amazing." Because we had just finished Aquarius, not, maybe like a year or so before. And so I was just really excited. I don't know, auditioning can be really, really fun when the room is familiar, right? It's like auditioning is definitely a process in itself that you have to master. And it just makes it easy when you have these, people who, are cheering you on you're in your career regardless, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I had auditioned, and I think I left the next Monday to New York to go film, which was such a quick turnaround.
Fast.
It was super fast. But it was fun. You don't have to pull my leg to go to New York. That's a treat.
So when you filmed season 1, did you have any idea you were going to come back for season 2?
No, I didn't. There had been talk, but you never know with shows, right?
Right.
A lot of shows only last one season. So they may have said to me, like, we have plans for Candace if there's a future season. But I was just happy to work. At the end of the day, like, when I'm working with people I love and material I love, and it's a character, frankly, that I haven't really played before. I mean, Candace is very complex, right?
Yeah,
and it's
definitely
something that I hadn't tried out before. And I really like challenging roles that really makes it more interesting and more fun, and getting to work with Penn. And I don't know, I was so excited for the project in general. And like, whether it was on, it didn't matter what network it was on, it was just a good project. And I think, as eventually, we didn't do well on Netflix, and we didn't do well on Netflix. So we ended up Lifetime. So we ended up going to Netflix, and it just,
it boomed on Netflix.
It just boomed. I don't even know I guess that's the right word, but it just took off, which was, it's so exciting for Sarah, the creator, and Berlanti. I don't know. It's just, I get so excited for people when, to see them succeed like that, and to be a part of it is even, is the cherry on top.
So when they called you back for season 2, did you know the fate of Candace right away? Or was that like filming episodes until like near the end when you found out what was going to happen?
Yeah, they don't like to tell actors usually when, what's going to happen if they're going to die, because they just don't want it to interfere with, any work environment, any spoilers. But I knew it was coming. Listen, this is not a show about like rainbows and butterflies. This is a show about a man who murders people. And when you have a crazy ex-girlfriend that's following you from New York to LA, I knew her fate. Like, I knew that I didn't know how long she would, continue, but I knew eventually Candace was going to have to, die.
Yeah. Did you ever expect to play a character that was killed pretty much twice?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So in the show, like, who's like, other than Candace, who's a favorite character of yours?
Who do I love?
Do you love Love because she killed you?
I love Love. I love Victoria. She's amazing. No, I really love Carmela's character, Delilah.
I just had her on, yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, she's great. I love Jenna Ortega's character. I can't think of off the top of my head, which is crazy. She plays the sister of Delilah. And I don't know, those characters are so fun. There's so many great characters. Everyone had such big personalities on season 2, and I think that's what made it so fun. And it was like, it wasn't just a one note. Everyone was like a bigger than life kind of character.
In season 1, Beck was haunting Joe. What are the chances of Candace haunting Joe on season 3?
I don't know. We'll see.
Did you read the books at all?
I did.
How,
I wanted to read.
How different is your character to the books?
There's a few, changes, but I think, since Candace is not the lead character, I mean, there's storyline. I would say there's a little bit. I feel like book 1 was closer to the first season than book 2. I think they kind of went off of the pages a little bit. But that's like very typical, in the business.
Yeah. If you were a writer, what would you want to see for season 3?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I mean, I would like to see someone take Joe down. At some point, he's got to like experience a little bit of pain,
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know.
He's a bad guy. He's got to.
He's
He's
a bad
doing
guy.
some bad things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mentioned earlier you have a brand and a business. Tell us about that.
So I started my jewelry brand. Well, it started as a jewelry company, and then I'm kind of turning it more into a lifestyle brand, with some exciting things coming up that should be launching if it were still on schedule for the holidays. But I started this brand in between the Ray Donovan season and finding my next gig. And I really wanted to do something that was still artistic. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. They've had their business for over 30 years. And I just wanted to try something. I was eager to learn a different trade. And I love jewelry. I love having meaningful jewelry. And I found someone to kind of mentor me that had been in the jewelry business for a long time to find out how you even start making jewelry. And I've learned so much, and I'm so appreciative. And I have a special piece that's really kind of the driving force of the brand, which is my Rise Totem collection. And it's a symbol, it's a native symbol actually of two sisters side by side that share a relationship of the soul, like a really strong, deep bond. And they're on my website. They're buy one, get one free. And the idea is to gift it to someone in your life that has helped you along your journey. I think women, when they unite, really amazing things can happen. And so this is kind of like where I'm taking the brand to help in all different, aspects of life when it comes to coming together and uniting women and just appreciating the women that we have in our lives.
Now, do you make these, or do you have people make this for you?
So I design them, and
Okay.
And then of course I work with the manufacturer. We manufacture the pieces.
What is your goal with the brand?
My ultimate goal with the brand is to be able to branch out into different categories and to be able to use that as a way to give back. Ultimately, acting is always going to be my job per se. The brand is a project that I love to do, and I want to be able to make great changes in the world and be able to give back through my brand. And so one of the things that we are working on right now is I'm working with a company called Shine the Light On, and it's based in Canada, and we're making apparel with my symbol, and a percentage is going to go back to this charity called understood.org that helps people with learning differences.
That's awesome.
My oldest one has a learning difference, and she has ADHD and auditory processing. I mean, there's like that's like a whole nother podcast that we could do. But it's very complex, and I've been through a lot with, discovering and doctor's appointments and figuring out the specific way that she needs to learn. And so I want to shine the light on that. And I want to use the brand to be able to help other parents and know that, I think it's a conversation that a lot of parents don't like to have when they have a child with either a disability or a learning difference or whatever it may be. And I want to make those conversations a lot easier to have, because I think there's a lot of good information and, emotional support that we can get from one another through these conversations.
That's awesome. Now, is this just online, or you plan to open stores someday, you think?
Oh gosh, not in this year, not in 2020. That's for sure.
Right, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
I think it would be fun to open stores. I know it's a lot of a retail space is a lot of work. I might, I'd love to start with a pop-up. And and see how it goes and see the response. But right now, all of our stuff is online on the website. So we'll see. I mean, I think that would be a fun challenge with it,
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready for that quite yet. I think we have, we need to get past this pandemic and really see the changes, that's going to be coming to the world, or the United States anyways, for the next few years.
For the listeners though, what's the website?
So the website's my name. It's Ambyr, Ambyr Childers, and Childers I just gave you my at Gmail. AmbyrChilders.com. That is the website.
So between all this and all the projects, do you have anything else that's coming out that you can tell us about?
I've written a couple of scripts that I'm really excited about. I'm hoping that once this pandemic's over, I will be able to shop them around. But there's a couple really interesting projects that I'm up for. I don't know if I think they made me sign things.
Yeah.
It's very strict. The laws are very strict about what you could talk about these days. But no, there's just a lot. I'm really excited just to get back out there and find my next great project. And hopefully it's one of these that I've put myself on tape for.
Yeah. Do you have like a dream role that you hope to play someday? Superhero dream roles? Seems like everybody says that.
No, I feel like it would be so fun. I haven't played a mom before. And I think it's just because I'm younger. I had my kids, when I was in my early 20s. And I think it'd be really fun just to be able to play a mom. I know it sounds crazy, but I think I would really enjoy that.
Yeah. A lot of people say that actually. I've had a couple actors that have come out like, oh, I would love to play a dad. I'm always playing like the bad guy or the drug dealer. It's like, I'd love to play just a normal dad in the suburbs or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun. I would really enjoy, playing a mom, and I love babies. So
Ambyr, how can the listeners find you on social media?
You could find me on Instagram. I'm Ambyr Childers _official.
All right, Ambyr, this was fun. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, everybody. That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to the Man Cave Chronicles podcast.
I finally get my man cave.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the MCC Podcast, and our website, themccpodcast.com. Until next time.